Welcome to the Empowered Women Life Leaders podcast. I'm your host, Karen Bashford. This podcast is for every woman who has ever felt limited by her past, silenced by trauma, or held back by society's expectations. Each week, we will share powerful stories, expert insights, and practical tools to help you become the leader of your own life. Today, I have Meryl Hayton, who helps women release deeply stored stress. There's a lot more to her than that, but that's just a very simple version of it. And I will ask Meryl to share in a minute. Meryl pivoted in her late 40s to fully embrace the healing arts as an inner peace specialist, and she has her own program. But that was after a 28-year career as a successful salon owner. I invited Meryl to be a guest because there was something in her childhood when we were chatting that really stood out for me that I think a lot of women ignore. I know I did. So Meryl's story is something that perhaps reinforces the fact that we have to learn to trust ourselves. So Meryl, thank you for coming on as a guest. Please tell us a bit about yourself and what you decided, even as a young child, was going to happen in your life.
Thank you for having me. Let's see. So, when I was a little girl, I loved polishing my nails and being creative and, using my hands to draw or paint or make art. And I'm not really that great at it, but it's not like I was a born artist. I just liked to play with that, and I liked color. And I practiced and I did my best, but my whole family had a background working in corporate America and in business, and I was definitely kind of pushed a little bit and led to go to college and follow that path. But I always had this creative edge. And after high school, or, while I was in high school and after high school, I went to college for a little while and I worked in corporate America. But I always had this niggling, in the background because I was always playing with everybody who knew me, knew my nails were like unbelievable. I had the latest and craziest designs, and I had all the equipment in my bedroom. I would do my friends' nails and family's nails, and it was a hobby. But one day when I was going to college, I decided that I was going to call the school and get my money back. So I was like, I didn't want to go to the fall semester. I wanted to go to cosmetology school. And I was able to get my money back. And I came home and I told my mom. She thought I was nuts. And she said, this is verbatim what she said in my kitchen when I told her. What white Jewish girl or woman is going to make any money doing nails? And I said, me, just watch, because I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I had a corporate job at the time, and I was going to college at night. So like I said, I got my money back. I put the deposit down on school. My mom said, you have to pay that out of your pocket, the rest of cosmetology school. I said, fine. And I was lucky enough, to still be living at home. And I, finished nail school and I got a job working for someone, and she taught me a lot. And then I wanted to be on my own. I knew I could do it on my own. And I started working for myself part-time at 21. And then eventually, by the time I was 24, I had like a full business on my own. I left corporate America after working there for 6 years, and left all the benefits and all of that. And I just kept following the breadcrumbs, and I kept following my knowing, my inner knowing that I had to do these things. Um, I will say that my father died home alone with me when I was 17, and I was a junior in high school, so that was obviously a pivotal moment in my life. He was definitely more of the driving force to work in business and accounting than anybody in my family. I mean, although everybody was working in those fields, he was more of the driving force for academics um, and it really wasn't until I was much older in my life, like in my probably around 40, um, that I realized that my father's passing like enabled me to really be able to follow my dream and not my family's dreams or what my family thought was the right thing to do, because that's what they all did, worked in corporate America. And I was like, that really wasn't for me. When I was in corporate America, I was not happy sitting in the cubicle, even if I had windows, working the 9 to 5 for somebody else. I just was constantly like um uneasy about it. I never really said that sentence before. Like I was constantly just not happy. Just really deep down was not happy and fulfilled there.
So
And
do you think that with your father's passing, no, rephrase that. Do you think that if your father hadn't died,
Mhm.
you would have remained in the corporate world, or would you have fought for what you wanted?
Yeah, I think I would have remained in the corporate world, and maybe down the line, maybe much later down the line, possibly I would have switched into doing nails.
So,
Um,
based on what you know of yourself, even at that young age,
mhm.
how would have it impacted you as a person if you'd had to stay in that corporate world?
Oh boy, my whole body would have been a mess in toxicity. I would have been constantly, I think, on edge and bitter and angry and yeah, just not not happy at all. I probably would have been ruminating and swirling, about how could I get out of it, or how could I, talk to my father about it, or yeah, there would have been a lot of second guessing. And let me tell you, I already had enough of all that stuff just with my regular life.
So,
So,
sorry, go on.
yeah, no, no. Yeah, I already was someone that was stressed in second guessing myself in relationships and overgiving and people pleasing and things like that. So that would have, if I would have stayed in corporate America and not transferred, to my nail salon, I don't know. I really would have been a mess.
So, tell us a bit about your journey from running the nail salon to actually reaching that point where you pivoted.
Hmm. Um, so I would say, let's say around the age of 31. So say 10 years about in doing nails, and about 6 or 7 of those years full time. And I was already loved exercising. I started to get into yoga. And maybe 10 years later, so I'm 40, I started practicing private yoga. I started realizing my body was really burnt out from all the sitting and the years of repetitive motion. And one of my yoga teachers said, you want to get out of the salon a little bit and find something maybe part-time, you should become a yoga teacher. And I thought at first she was nuts, because I couldn't do the type of classes that I was taking at the time was hot vinyasa, which is a very strong practice where you're doing lots of arm balances and fancy things that I really couldn't do. But I loved the flow of the class, the flow of poses and breath, and I loved the heat and the sweating. Um, and the music and the teachers and so that's what kept me going. But she said, so what? So maybe you become a great beginner teacher. She said, I really think you should call the the teacher of the program and talk to her about it. So I end up doing the training, and I did become a really good beginner teacher. And I taught yoga. I actually taught the hot vinyasa for 5 years. And what I realized was I was able to help people to feel better in their bodies, but I also wanted to help them feel better in their minds and de-stress. And what I was doing in the salon was I was always connecting people to other people that could help them in health, and other people that could help them in nutrition, and other people that could help them feel better with their pain, and other people that, right? So I was always surrounded by energy healers and, massage therapists and chiropractors and acupuncturists and, everybody in the alternative wellness field. And I loved doing all that stuff myself. So that's really what got me into it. And I was, surrounded by a lot of psychics and shamans and people who were into crystals and all of that. And so I continued my yoga practice and training, and I became a 500-hour registered yoga teacher. And I learned more about yoga therapy and how to help people feel better that had limitations and common injuries, and use props in classes. And I was constantly learning how to weave in self-love, self-acceptance, and that's really what transformed me and my own body and my own mind to say, oh, I want more of this. I really want more of this. How can I have more of this? How can I expand in this mind body medicine? And I ended up taking a class in mind body medicine, and that coach became my first real paid coach. And she's a coach and a healer, and she did a little bit of EFT tapping in her program. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? Actually, let me say, at first, I said, this is weird. I don't really get it. I don't really get this tapping thing. It's kind of annoying, but I loved her and I knew I wanted to work with her. So I said, I'm going to learn this somehow. I'm going to keep following her and somehow I'm going to like this. And she just did like little short videos on YouTube, and a lot of it was a little bit of EFT tapping. And then one night I couldn't fall asleep because I was ruminating about something. And I said, oh, let me do this tapping thing. Right. And I did this a couple of rounds of tapping. And then I said, I don't even know what I was thinking about. Like, what was I even tapping on? Because it completely severed the link and dismantled, everything that I was ruminating about. And then I went, oh, okay, this is, I'm immersing myself like I did in the nail industry in every possible training I can do. And this is my next thing. And over the next year, I figured out how to close my salon and how the other employees I had could move on and do their own thing. And I didn't really have a salon to sell. I sold products, and I closed my space, and I took home like 15 clients to my home with my nail station and whatever products I had. And literally a month later, I fell and fractured my wrist and I could not work. And my body was already so compromised from all the years of doing nails that my other wrist was in a lot of pain. So I needed help. I was single, living alone, and I had every day somebody came to my house to help me do something for weeks. And then I really said, okay, I'm diving in to work with this coach online who taught me, or showed me the tapping. She wasn't teaching me tapping. She wasn't a trainer in tapping. And I did her program. And then I found like all of the tapping certifications and everything after that. And so that's my journey.
Okay. So, one thing that you said, first off, I've got to ask, what are your nails like now?
Oh, they're actually clear. I wear clear gel on my
Okay.
nails. Sometimes a light color, once in a while in the winter, maybe a dark color, but I've been actually clear for months and months and months now. It's easy for me to do it myself. And I can
Mm.
easily transform my whole workstation into my nail station. I got all my stuff right next to me here. I can just take my computer off and put my nail station together. And every 3 weeks, I do my nails still. I don't do anybody else's.
I was
But I
going
used
to
to
ask.
I used to have like sculpted, long, pointed, crazy nails with all the stuff and crystals and the stones and oh, yeah, crazy.
So, obviously, running the salon was stressful in itself,
Hmm.
but actually, how did you physically feel when you were doing other people's nails? What was going through your body as you were doing them?
Well, the satisfaction of helping people to feel good on the outside was there for a long time, but I did lose that fulfillment over time because my body just wasn't enjoying it anymore. And honestly, what was going on in my mind was I need to pay the bills, I need to make money, a lot of fear around money, a lot of ruminating around that fear, even though I was very successful and doing well.
Mm. Yeah,
But that's what it was, what I was doing. That was me.
yeah. And that's the trouble, isn't it? We might enjoy something, but if there's programs that are running in the background about money or about, what people would say if something goes wrong and such like, that's going to have a huge impact on you personally.
Hmm.
So when you started to sort of decide that you needed help, because you mentioned about your wrist and then obviously breaking your wrist, that would have restricted you, obviously wouldn't have been able to do the work with other people's nails. But even the fact, by the sounds of it, you had carpal tunnel where, with the wrist.
Yeah.
Did How did you deal with that then? Do you still have that, or is the work you're now doing cleared all that?
Um, I mean, I can't there's a couple things I can't do a lot of, like lift heavy weights. Um, but I don't really have any problems on a regular basis with my, hands or wrists. Um, unless I'm at my computer maybe for a really long time, but I
Mhm.
have like a really good setup on purpose.
Mm. Yeah,
You
that's
know, I even have a
understandable.
keyboard. I even have a keyboard that is shaped this way
Yeah,
so
the
that my wrists,
ergonomics. Yeah.
yeah, are in really good alignment.
Mm.
Um, and I have, a very comfortable padded seat with the back support, the whole thing. And I do have one of the things I wanted in my salon, like my whole career, was a table on hydraulics, but they were thousands of dollars, and I was not going to spend that because I would have had to have gotten more than one station for everything to
Mhm.
match. But I've had once I left the salon and I shut down, broke my wrist and all that, I was able to get this table that I have now. It was only a few $100s and it's on hydraulic. So I can stand for an hour, sit for an hour, stand for an hour, sit for an hour, which is so much healthier.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I probably ran off on a tangent there, but
Yeah, that's fine because it's all
yeah,
very relevant because
yeah.
obviously you're now working with the body in the work that you do and
Hmm.
the mind because of the inner peace. So I want to ask you if well, no, not if, you would have looked back over your life. Was there anything that you would have said to yourself that perhaps would have changed your life in some way earlier if you had actually recognized that it was your body telling you there's something wrong here?
Um, yeah, it all comes down to fear. really, is um, so when you first started to say that, the sentence that came to me was, "Don't worry, you will always be supported and protected and guided." Because that is what I wholeheartedly embody today. But it
Mm,
took me a lot of time and a lot of work in order to get there, and a lot of uncertainty. I
mm.
kept, constantly processing through fear and uncertainty with my program that um, has helped me to, completely trust that I'm always supported. So if I had that belief, I would have
Mm.
said, "Oh, okay, body, I hear you. No problem. We're going to step away and we're going to find something else to do, and we know we'll be supported." But that wasn't my mindset back then, and since I was driven by incredible amounts of fear, I was like, nope, I have to stay stuck in this because I can't do anything else. I don't know what else to do, right? I
So do
wasn't going
you
to go
think,
back. Sorry. Yeah, I
sorry,
wasn't going to go back to corporate America, of course. So go
no,
ahead.
of course, yeah. So do you think the actual pain in your wrist that you was already experiencing, and then the actual physical breaking of your other wrist, was that the real turning point for you to
Oh,
go,
yeah.
just no more?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I thought, I remember saying um, to the clients who were coming to my home, I'll probably do this for a few more months until I build a full following of coaching, a whole coaching business in a few months. That did not happen. Um, and and the universe was like, yeah, no, Meryl, we're pushing you completely off the edge right here and now, where you have, I mean, I had no income for weeks
Mm.
because I couldn't even teach yoga at that time. I couldn't really drive. Like I said, I needed a lot of help for weeks. And then I slowly got back to teaching more yoga, and I ended up being supported. I was supported by friends, family, it really somehow I got through using my credit cards, all of it.
Well, we take action, don't we, when we have to? So,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay. So tell us a bit about what you do now then. Obviously, do you still do the yoga?
I do. I actually teach chair yoga
Hmm.
for mainly seniors. My class size is around 70 people. It's crazy, crazy size class. I know. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun. So I do that once a week, and then I sometimes sub some restorative or chair yoga or beginner level classes locally, but that's kind of rare. And do a little bit of my own practice.
So tell
And
us a bit about your practice then.
my practice is really just a little bit of movement through gentle movements for my wrist. I mix in a little bit of Tai Chi and Qigong. I love using props, restorative yin. That's mostly my practice. Lots of stretching, things like that.
And what
Um,
about your business? Because you have a program, don't you? Tell us a bit about that.
Yes. So over the years, I've created my clearing method program. I found that I had 5 steps that I was using myself and with my clients. That is, if you take the word clear and you think of it as an acronym, the C is clarity of where you're at and what your goals are. The L is letting go, and that's using EFT tapping and optimal EFT, which is a meditative form of it. So emotional freedom techniques, because there is more than one,
Hmm.
um, in order to help you to dismantle the emotional attachment and sever the stress response link to whatever is keeping you from your goals. The E in clear is learning how to embody being your own cheerleader. I do that through something called self-compassion tapping. It uses internal family systems mixed with self-compassion tapping and inner child healing. And there's a whole thing that I do together with that and help people to really remember things that they've accomplished, what they've survived, what things that they're proud of, instead of focusing on all the things that are going wrong, right? So it's really helping people to rewire those thought patterns. And then the A is align in the word clear is aligning with your authentic self. So really learning what you value and then learning how to create boundaries to hold on to those values. And then
Mhm.
the R is how to reinforce it all. So I use law of attraction, and some people know that as manifesting or um, as the word manifesting instead of law of attraction, but using affirmations. What are your routines, rituals, um, daily morning routines and things like journaling or meditation or tapping or exercise. I'm not a nutritionist. I know a lot about it, but my program is absolutely a holistic approach to you feeling better. So if I don't have the answer, I know people who do.
Best way to
Um,
work.
yeah, so that's what I take people through, and I teach that program in a 2-hour workshop sometimes, a 6-month program online, a 3-month private program with people, a 3 or 4 week series that's online. So lots of different ways that can be used.
Okay. What do I want to finish with? There's something, what is it? I don't know your age,
Mm-hmm.
but I am 69 now,
Okay.
and I didn't start changing my life until I was about 64.
Okay.
What would you say to a woman who is looking at her life and thinking it's just not worked? What would you say to her, regardless of age?
Mm-hmm. Well, you do look beautiful, I have to say.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
would never think 69. Um, I'm 57. I have no problem saying my age. Um,
You look good. You look
oh,
absolutely amazing. So well done.
thank you. My mom still looks pretty damn good for 99.
Wow. That's a
No,
good age.
I mean, she's got dementia and she's in memory care and whatever, but she still, for her, she still loves to put her clothes on that match and, the lipstick, and she's still,
That's lovely. I think
yeah,
that's so, so important. It shows
yeah.
she respects herself even with dementia. So
Hmm.
that's lovely.
Um, So what I say a lot is you always have a choice, no matter how old you are, right? You can stay stuck in your negative thinking and thinking you're getting old and all that. You can do all that, and that's fine. And you can honor that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you have a choice to, change your perspective, to realize that you're just aging, things are changing. Um, and that you can change your mindset. Absolutely. You can change your mindset at any time. It is absolutely possible. It might take a little bit of work, the older that we get, the more stuff that we might have to clear, but it is absolutely possible. Most of my clients are, I would say, in their 50s and 60s. So they're changing. And it's permanent change. It's not just like a temporary fix, for a short period of time. It's permanent change from being really stuck in anxiety to complete inner peace in their mind and body.
And that's the difference, isn't it? Because if you don't deal with what you're feeling,
Hmm.
you will be looking older than you are. You will be
Yes.
moving older than you are.
Hmm.
And certainly your whole attitude to life will be older than what it needs to be.
Yes. Yes. And mindset has a lot to do with it, and,
Mm,
and your stress has a lot to do with it.
mm. So
So,
what level of stress are you at?
what level of stress am I at? Zero.
Great, great.
Today, yeah, today, zero. Hey, I'm human. Stuff happens.
Mhm.
Life is challenging sometimes. And there's a Michael Franti song. I don't know if you're familiar with Michael Franti. Um, life is life is amazing, and sometimes it sucks. You
Very,
know,
very true.
it's true. But the times that it does suck, it's like, okay, what's the lesson here,
Hmm.
right? How can I pivot? Feel the feelings, work through them, and stuff just moves much faster, much, much faster than it used to.
Definitely. And I'm pleased to hear you're at zero. Makes all the difference. But we all have stress of some kind because that's the nature of our lives. We can't put ourselves in a bubble and ignore everything that's going on around us as much as we'd love to. So
Right.
yeah, it's good to hear you're at zero though at the moment. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, Meryl. It's been fascinating hearing how you knew and followed your own guidance as a young lady and in choosing to pivot because you knew that was right. And I
Hmm.
think for me, that highlights what so many women are fearful of doing is trusting that they know what's right for them. So thank
Yeah.
you for highlighting that for them. I appreciate that. And I'm sure the listeners will. Just to
Yeah.
finish off, have you got
Hmm.
anything you particularly want to say?
Well, there's one more thing that I think your listeners might appreciate is when I was still getting my certifications and learning about how, what kind of a healer and a coach I wanted to be, and doing a lot of my own internal healing with these certifications. Um, I wasn't making a lot of money, so things were very stressful, and I was still learning how to deal with the uncertainty and the fear and all that. And a lot of people would said to me, "Oh, come on, Meryl, this is enough, right? You should just let this idea go, right? Go back to corporate America." And I would shut those people down right away and say, "Yeah, I know. Even though I'm venting to you and I might be really frustrated, like, yeah, I'm not doing that. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Somehow I'm going to get through this." And I did.
Well, this is it, isn't it? You do
So,
get through things. Yes, it can be tough. It can be
hmm
very worrying. It can be financially challenging, but you will always get through whatever you need to get through. You're never left on your own to cope with everything.
yep,
You're only ever given as much as you can manage. So
yeah,
thank you. That was a very, very good point to finish on. So I appreciate that.
you're
And
welcome.
thank you for your time. I will be sharing the links to how to reach you and your program and such. So in the meantime, I thank you and have a beautiful rest of the year.
You too. Thank you so much.